Hello everyone and welcome to another Top 5 Records video. Today we got a very new, interesting release from Queen Productions. It's this, a new 2024 remix. Not just a remaster, but a remix of the original Queen 1 album. Now, Brian made an announcement a couple of weeks ago on his Instagram page, and he said that they were always unsatisfied with the sound quality of their first album. And to be quite frank, I quite often disagree with Brian May's comments with regard to the sound of Queen. For example, there was a box a couple of years ago which I didn't really like, but when he said that Queen 1 was tough to get a good sounding version of, I completely agree. Because luckily, a couple of years ago, I found the first UK pressing, which is my go-to pressing. But before that, I listened to a lot of bad pressings. This record had some issues with its sound. So the announcement that it will be a new 2024 mix, not just even mastering, but a new mix, was interesting. So what did I do today? I have compared this new release to the first UK. So here are my thoughts. First of all, there is something with the packaging of this, because there are some changes. Now, where the original has in red pinkish name, this one is in gold and it's textured and it has one added to it. Some people think it should be exactly the same as the original. Since this is a new mix, and since I really like the gold and the one, I do enjoy it. Now, all there further is here a hype sticker and printed inner sleeves with the lyrics there. Nice addition, nice packaging. I like the textured sleeve, which is definitely better than the very thin original. But it's all about the sound. So, what does this sound like? Now, starting off with the opening track, Keep Yourself Alive. I was pleasantly surprised by how the guitar sounds. But then the moment Freddie Mercury starts to sing, there's something that doesn't sound right. There's a certain brightness and a certain unnaturalness to his voice that didn't really make it do it for me. He sounds somewhat thin in a certain way. He sounds as if he's trying to get into the song and is not fully getting there. Now, we do know a little bit about the idea behind this mix before this actual release, because there were some single releases. And the thing is, there are a lot of complaints about that. And I think fans who complain about that are very right. They did some correcting on the vocals of Mercury. They did some pitch correcting, and I do not know in what way they fully went. And in some cases, the difference is really minor. But if you put them side to side, they have been messing with Mercury's voice and Mercury's pitch. That results in very often an unnatural sound of his voice. It's not just in Keep Yourself Alive. During the track list, when I'm going to talk about the other tracks, I keep coming back to it, and it's immediately the first and the biggest flaw in my opinion. Now, why did Queen do that? The thing is, Queen has a history of that. In my case, I really prefer the sound of original Queen albums, and they have been reissuing some of them and flattening the dynamics so they would improve for the sound demands of people who would listen to it on Spotify or digital formats. If you've got a lot of surrounding noise, less dynamics is better. They've been doing these kinds of changes, which really, I think those are horrible. And the thing is, with the dynamic, you can even hear it here and Keep Yourself Alive. This one goes from between, when I do not change the volume button on my receiver, 73 decibel to 81 decibel, whereas this one, the Blair Mastered original, I see it change on Keep Yourself Alive between 64 decibel until 86 decibel, same volume. The dynamic range is so much bigger on this. In a song, the building, it's so much better. And doesn't have the strange texture on Mercury's voice. I did not like the flat dynamics on this Keep Yourself Alive. It doesn't really build, it doesn't explode when it should explode. Now, to be quite fair, this Keep Yourself Alive does sound better, but Brian May's critique that it doesn't sound the way you would like Keep Yourself Alive to sound, I agree. This one also doesn't explode when it needs to explode. And this is a song on the outer edge, so it should sound best on the record. Now, um, so comparing it to this one, the guitar sound is also very, very good. It's just not a really big competition for the 2024. The voices sound so much better, all the more natural, more power in the vocals. The harmonies blend in so much better here. Thing is, though, when you listen to the quality of the drums, they are a lot clearer on the 2024 version overall. I'm gonna keep getting back to that point when I go through the track list. Now, going to the second song. Doing all right. The sound of the piano on the 2024, it has so much body, so much texture and definition. It is really amazing. Then the sound of the bass there is also incredible. Better than this one. But I really prefer the 2024 mix in that regard, in the sound, the way, the fullness of the bass, the fullness of the piano. But then we get back to the messing of the vocals. Mercury on the original, sometimes you hear it's tough for him to reach a certain height, and that's part of the adventure of listening to his voice. Um, there's this moment when he does the on this one the should be waiting for the rain to end any time of all the world, and he does it higher than I do, um, and it's just really exciting to hear him struggle for the notes. Not the right word, but it takes his energy, and I really like that. Perhaps it's not it's not pitch wise the thing you would perfectly want, but it's human, and we're listening to humans, so those corrections I really don't like. Then there is some really strange addition of reverb on the guitar solo here, which doesn't do it for me sound wise. Then song like Great King Red sounds a lot less dynamic here. The original sounds so much warmer guitar wise. The drum sounds on the OG so though are muffled, so the drums here, that's a continuing thing here. Drums are better, um, but the original has a better dynamic. Mad the Swine is a very interesting bonus here because it's not on the original record and it's a very good song. So that is something the 2024 mix has going for it. Here again, though, the auto tune is somewhat a problem that really messes it up. Now, my Fairy King, um, this is something for all the people who are going to buy the vinyl. My Fairy King doesn't sound right on this vinyl. You hear a distortion in the higher frequencies on the intro and during the higher vocal parts here. And if I cleaned my needle, I thought perhaps there's some dust on the needle. No, it's really in the record. And when we get to the other side, Seven Seas of Rye has the same issue. There's something with this pressing. Perhaps it's the adding of the extra song. But the last songs on one side, they have distortion on the higher frequencies. And that is something I rarely hear on new pressings. So I'm really disappointed in that regard. Liar on this one has a very, very strange drum sound. It's so bright that it's unbalanced. And again, Mercury's voice doesn't sound right here. The Night Comes Down is a pleasant surprise because I really love the detail and the sound of the guitar in the intro. Then the drums come in, and the drums, they sound really weird. Again, off balance here. There is again this moment where Mercury is struggling with the note on the original, which is really gorgeous. It's that dazzling heart in the world inside. Well, I'm not hitting it, but here it's all corrected, and it doesn't give that bite, that human element there. I'm really missing it. Modern Times Rock and Roll, however, beats the original clearly. It's more powerful, it sounds fresher. I'm not sure how they did it, but that one really sounds good. Son and Daughter, strange on Mercury's sound. Again, I love the original here. Jesus is a very pleasant surprise as well. I would say that Jesus and Modern Times Rock and Roll on this one are really worthwhile and very good mixes. Jesus sounds powerful, better to my ears than the original, even though they mess with Mercury's voice. But then again, on Jesus, it's somehow sounds as if Mercury is not really into the song. I'm not sure about that, and they somehow fixed that on this one. Perhaps it's also a matter of pitch, that it just sounds easier or more correct to the ear. But for the first time, I noticed how tight and interesting and good the timing of that song is. Then Seven Seas of Rye, it has a distortion I just mentioned earlier. So that is my quick opinion on the tracks. Overall, what do I think of this? Now, they did announce the new one as a remix, so they got that going for them, that they are open about it. There are elements that sound fuller, like the piano, the drums sound clearer. It is not the explosion in sound they did announce, however, and I am really disappointed by the tuning and correcting and messing with the vocals. It goes on and on and on, which makes Mercury sound really strange. So, do I advise this? No, this is not an upgrade if you have an original Queen 1. Yet, this record, First UK, is pretty tough to find, and I've heard versions that are so much worse. So, if you're not going to find a Queen 1 original pressing, is this a good alternative? Well, I'd say it's better than the recent reissue, if you do not mind the distortion in the high on the last two songs on the sides, which are a downer. No, I find it tough. This is really a mixed bag for me. I don't think that I'm going to put this on ever again. But then again, how to find a good pressing of Queen 1? I'm going to stick to my answer. Please hunt down the original. And only if you're really, really interested in Queen might this be worthwhile for you. So this is my review. I'm curious, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.